It all started on a quiet night when I stumbled upon a thread on Reddit discussing the dark web. Curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to dive deeper. I wasn't completely naive. I knew the risks of venturing into the hidden corners of the internet. I installed Tor, set up a VPN, and promised myself I'd only explore a little, just to satisfy my curiosity. Most of the sites I visited were underwhelming: bizarre marketplaces, cryptic forums, and services I had no intention of using. Then, I found the Forgotten Forum. It wasn't listed on any of the directories. I stumbled across it after clicking through a series of links on a thread about urban legends. The forum was stark, just a black background with neon green text. The posts were bizarre, but oddly hypnotic. Users shared cryptic messages, eerie videos, and strange recordings. The most active thread was titled, "Do You Want to See What Lies Beyond?" It was filled with posts from users recounting their experiences after accessing a hidden part of the forum. The instructions to join were buried in riddles, but after hours of deciphering, I cracked it. My excitement blinded me to the growing unease clawing at the back of my mind. Following the instructions, I typed a specific string of code into the search bar and was redirected to a live feed. The video was grainy and in black and white, showing a dimly lit room. A single chair sat in the center, illuminated by a bare light bulb swinging from the ceiling. The chat feature popped up on the side of the screen. A single message appeared. "Welcome, viewer 4. Are you ready to participate?" My stomach tightened. Participate in what? Before I could respond, the screen shifted. The live feed now showed a man sitting in the chair, his head drooped. His hands were bound behind his back. I froze. Was this real? The chat buzzed again. "Make your choice, viewer 4. A timer appeared on the screen, counting down from 60 seconds. Below it were 2 buttons: release and punish. My heart pounded in my chest. Was this some sick prank? Other users in the chat were urging me to pick punish. Their messages were gleeful, almost taunting. "Do it! You came here for a reason. Don't be a coward." The man on the screen stirred, lifting his head. His face was bruised and swollen, but his eyes locked onto the camera as if he could see me. He mouthed something, but there was no audio. I felt paralyzed. The timer hit 0. The screen went black. My heart sank as I realized I had done nothing. Suddenly, a new video feed appeared. It wasn't the same room. This time it was my bedroom. I gasped, spinning around, but everything was normal. The feed was a perfect replica of my room, down to the coffee mug sitting on my desk. A message flashed across the chat. "You should have chosen." Panic set in. I shut down my computer, disconnected from the internet, and tore the webcam off my monitor. I spent the rest of the night clutching a kitchen knife, jumping at every creak and shadow. The next morning, I convinced myself it was an elaborate hoax. Maybe they'd hacked into my webcam, using old footage to scare me. I wanted to believe that, needed to believe it, but the messages didn't stop. Every day, a new email arrived in my inbox with no sender. They contained screenshots of me sitting at my desk, watching the feed. Then came the recordings, audio clips of my voice, snippets of conversations I'd had in my apartment. The breaking point came when I found a photograph slipped under my door. It was of me, sleeping in my bed. The angle suggested whoever took it had been standing in my room. I called the police, but there wasn't much they could do. I moved to a new apartment, changed my number, and got rid of my computer. For a while, Things were quiet. But a week ago, I received a package at my new address. Inside was a single item, the chair from the live feed. Attached to it was a note that read, "We didn't forget you." Now I'm writing this as a warning. If you ever come across the forgotten forum, don't click. No curiosity is worth what comes after. It was a rainy night when my masked friend, Ethan, introduced me to the dark web. He was always fascinated by the unknown and often dragged me into his bizarre adventures. That evening, we sat in his room, the faint glow of his laptop illuminating his face as he demonstrated how to access the hidden web. "Just don't get too curious," he warned with a smirk. "You never know what you'll stumble into." I nodded, but my curiosity was already piqued. Later that night, I tried it myself. With the VPN running and Tor browser installed, I ventured into this mysterious digital underworld. Most of the sites were harmless but strange, filled with encrypted text and obscure services. Then I found a link with the title, "The Messenger." Clicking it brought me to a pitch-black screen with a single line of text. "The messenger knows your secrets. Proceed." It felt like an edgy prank, but I couldn't resist. I clicked "Proceed," and the screen transitioned to a chat interface. The first message came immediately. "Welcome, user. Would you like to know your future?" I hesitated. How could they know my username? It wasn't linked to any real accounts. Assuming it was a lucky guess, I typed, "Sure." The messenger responded, "Someone is watching you." I rolled my eyes and typed back, "Nice try." Seconds later, the next message appeared. "You shouldn't dismiss warnings so easily. Look outside." My heart skipped a beat. I glanced toward my bedroom window but saw nothing unusual. It was just the rain streaking down the glass. Still, I felt a chill crawl up my spine. I typed, "Very funny. Who are you?" The response came immediately. "I'm the one who sees everything." The messenger then sent an image. It was a photo of me sitting at my desk, taken from outside my window. My blood ran cold. I turned to the window again, but there was no one there. Panic set in as I typed frantically, "What do you want?" "To deliver a message," they replied. "If you wish to know it, open the door." I froze. My apartment door was locked. No one should have been able to get in. I grabbed a knife from my desk drawer and crept toward the door. I peeked through the peephole but saw nothing. Summoning every ounce of courage, I slowly opened the door. The hallway was empty, but on the floor lay an envelope addressed to me. I picked it up with shaking hands and opened it. Inside was a single piece of paper with a typed message. "You were warned not to proceed. Now it's too late." I slammed the door shut and locked it, my mind racing. How did they know my address? I disconnected my laptop from the internet and called Ethan. He laughed nervously when I told him. "It's probably just some sick hacker," he said. "Lay low for a bit, and it'll blow over." But it didn't. The next day I woke up to find another envelope slipped under my door. This time, it contained a USB drive. Against my better judgment, I plugged it into an old laptop that wasn't connected to the internet. The drive contained a single video file. The footage was dark and grainy, but I recognized the setting instantly. It was my apartment. The video showed me sleeping in bed the previous night. The camera slowly panned toward my face, stopping inches away before the screen cut to black. I couldn't stay there anymore. I packed a bag and left, crashing at Ethan's place. He assured me it was all a scare tactic, but he looked as unsettled as I felt. That night, while Ethan slept, I received a notification on my phone. It was from an unknown number. "Running won't save you." The next morning, I found a message carved into the wooden table in Ethan's kitchen. "The messenger always delivers." Ethan and I called the police, but they dismissed it as an elaborate prank. I moved again, this time to a different city, cutting off contact with Ethan to keep him safe. For months, there was silence. I started to believe it was over, until last week. I woke up to find another envelope on my kitchen counter. This one contained a list of names, including mine and Ethan's. Each name had a date beside it. Ethan's date was yesterday. I tried calling him, but his phone went straight to voicemail. Later, I learned from the news that Ethan had been found dead in his apartment. The official cause was natural, but I knew better. My date is in 2 days. I don't know what's coming, but I know one thing for sure. You don't ignore the messenger. It started with boredom on a rainy Saturday night. Scrolling through mundane videos and forums, I stumbled upon a thread about the dark web. It was filled with people sharing their experiences of strange and eerie encounters. Most of them sounded like campfire stories, but one comment caught my attention. "For the truly brave, download the file." Curiosity got the better of me. Using the instructions from the thread, I navigated my way through the hidden layers of the internet until I found the link. It led to a simple web page with no graphics, just a single download button labeled "The File." I hesitated, but eventually clicked it. The download was quick, a zipped folder. When I opened it, I found a collection of text files, images, and videos, all labeled with strange titles like "Do Not Open" and "Your End." Against my better judgment, I opened the first video. It was a shaky recording of a dark room with faint whispers in the background. At first, nothing happened, but then the camera focused on a man tied to a chair, his face covered with a bag. A distorted voice from behind the camera said, "He opened the file, too." I slammed the laptop shut, my heart pounding. It felt like a cruel prank. Still, I couldn't shake the unease that settled over me. Later that night, my laptop turned on by itself. The screen displayed a single line of text. "You shouldn't have opened it." I unplugged the laptop and pulled the battery out, convinced it was some sort of malware. But my phone buzzed a moment later with an unknown number texting, "You can't run." I ignored it, telling myself it was all part of the prank. That's when I heard the sound, 3 slow knocks on my front door. It was 2 a.m. No one should have been there. I tiptoed to the door, looking through the peephole. The hallway was empty. But when I opened the door, there was something on the floor, a black USB drive. I wanted to throw it away, but some sick part of me needed to know what was on it. Plugging it into my old desktop computer, I found one video file titled "Watch Me." The footage began in a dark room, similar to the one in the earlier video, but this time the camera slowly panned, showing a man with his back turned, typing on a computer. It took me a moment to realize that the room was mine, and the man was me. The camera zoomed in as I turned toward it in the video. A shadow passed behind me, just before the footage cut to black. I spun around, half expecting to see someone standing behind me. But the room was empty. From that moment, things escalated. Every device I owned seemed compromised. My phone's camera would turn on randomly, taking photos of me without permission. My TV would flicker to life in the middle of the night, displaying distorted images of my own apartment. I called the police, but they dismissed it as a tech issue. Friends told me to unplug everything and take a break from technology. I did, but it didn't help. The next night, I woke up to find my bedroom door open. I always locked it. On the floor there was another USB drive. I didn't even bother checking it this time. I threw it out the window, but my phone buzzed immediately. The message read, "That won't stop us." Desperate, I smashed my laptop, my phone, even my router. I went to stay at a friend's house, thinking distance and isolation would keep me safe. But 2 days later, a package arrived for me. Inside was a single Polaroid photo. It showed me sleeping in my friend's guest room, with a shadowy figure standing over me. I left immediately, moving to a new city and changing my name. Months passed without incident, and I started to believe I was safe. But last night, I found a small envelope slipped under my apartment door. Inside was another Polaroid. This time it was a photo of me sitting at my desk, reading this story to you.